So we now have information on the assets and income of two President Trump's closest relatives and most intimate advisors, thanks to Friday night's White House dump of financial disclosure forms. If they abide by ethics laws and past White House practices, which is yet to be and is rarely seen so far in the Trump administration, Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump have so many potential conflicts of interest, they won't be able to advise the president on three of his top priorities, including trade, tax reform, and Wall Street deregulation. So, to discuss these conflicts of interest, here's Richard Painter, chief White House ethics lawyer in the George W. Bush administration.
Richard, so in these disclosures that we got Friday night and over the weekend, it showed that both Ivanka and Jared do hold about $700 million in assets. Both of them have said that they've distanced themselves from their companies. Jared Kushner resigned from more than 260 entities and sold off 58 businesses or investments. And Ivanka, as I said, resigned from all of her officer positions with her outside companies, including those with the Trump organization. So what are the red flags here?
Well, they did not divest themselves from ownership.
I love his voice.
Businesses. So both Ivanka and Jared are going to have recusal in three broad areas where they're not going to be able to participate in deliberations or anything else in the government. First is the regulation of banks and financial services. The real estate industry is very much dependent on bank financing, and a lot of what goes wrong in the banking industry has to do with what goes wrong in real estate. They're going to have to stay out of Dodd-Frank and banking regulation, deregulation, or whatever that is, both of them. Second is tax reform.
But Daddy, you promised.
The tax code is chock full of goodies for the real estate industry, and there are likely to be more provisions in any tax reform bill that affect the real estate industry. So they're both going to have to stay out of that because of Jared Kushner's ownership of many buildings and continued involvement in the real estate industry. Third is trade. Ivanka imports clothing from overseas, China and other countries, puts her name on it with a big markup. Of course, that's why jobs go overseas, because lots of people do that. We're going to have trade negotiations. She and Jared are going to have to stay out of that because she is retaining ownership interest in companies that are importing clothes.
Richard, if they don't stay out of, I'm sorry to interrupt, if they don't stay out of any of those things you just listed, from taxes, trade, from Dodd-Frank, and they don't give up ownership, what happens? Is there anybody there that would force consequences on them? Is this something that would fall
our Attorney General.
Japix potentially?
It's a criminal offense if they participate in a matter that has an effect on their economic position. And that would be referred to the Department of Justice, the Public Integrity Unit. There are a lot of career lawyers over there. This is not something that Attorney General Jeff Sessions or a bunch of political people are going to be able to sweep under the rug.
So this is not something that Jeff Sessions would be able to...
No.
Expand
Absolutely
on that.
not. He's not going to be able to. They're going to be career lawyers. They're going to say this is a crime, and they would prosecute anybody in the White House or anywhere else if anybody commits a crime, and that is a crime to participate in a government matter in which you have personally a financial interest. And this is a very broad a disqualification for them, particularly with respect to trade, because every time with China there's a dispute that comes up, President Trump is going to start talking about cutting off trade.
Richard Painter.
And that's a big problem.
Richard Painter, former chief White House ethics lawyer under George W. Bush. Appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you, kid.
I love how he talks. So, we now have information on the assets and income of two President Trump's closest relatives and most intimate advisors, thanks to Friday night's White House dump of financial disclosure forms. If they abide by ethics laws and past White House practices, which is yet to be and is rarely seen so far in the Trump administration, Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump have so many potential conflicts of interest, they won't be able to advise the president on three of his top priorities, including trade, tax reform, and Wall Street deregulation. So, to discuss these conflicts of interest, here's Richard Painter, former chief White House ethics lawyer in the George W. Bush administration.